Hey y'all, before we get into this video, I just want to say that I recorded like 23 minutes of a video only to realize later that only half of my face is in the video. So I basically unboxed some Christmas stuff and told you all about NaNoWriMo, and I'm not re-recording this video. So y'all gonna get it as it is, which is like me from the lips down. So please enjoy that aesthetically appealing video. I'm gonna put some really cute Christmas music in the back of it. So just kind of enjoy hearing my voice and seeing the unboxing, and hopefully next time that won't happen again. But what I will say, if you are a creator and on these social media apps, if something happens, like, just don't worry about it. Like, you can't stress about it. The anxiety is not worth it. To me, it's not worth reshooting this video. I have a small child. It doesn't make sense. So I'm just gonna post it as it is. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Peace. Hello and welcome back to my channel. So if you have clicked on this video, I know you want to know all about how my NaNoWriMo went, and don't worry, I got you. So if you're new here, my name is Krishana. I am a media strategist and a mom of a toddler and a newborn, and I used to work as a journalist and decided that I didn't want to do that kind of writing anymore. Instead, I wanted to embark on fiction writing. So I kind of have written a little bit here and there over the last year, but not consistently, and figured like I would never get a story done if I don't write consistently. And so this time I actually, during the month of November, embarked on NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. During the month of November, I embarked on a challenge to write 50,000 words in just 1 month. And so this is a little bit of my roundup about like whether or not I was able to succeed in that goal, and really just how it went in general. So if you're wondering how it went, don't worry, I got you. Also, you can see I have like some Christmas ornaments and stuff here, and so I'm going to be like unboxing some Christmas stuff that I have, because it is December 1st, so it is time to get all of my stuff up. And so, you know, you'll kind of see what things I was able to purchase while we get into this video. The stuff that I've already like taken out of bags were things that I either got, well, all things that I got from Pop Shop. I know Pop Shop doesn't exist everywhere, but there are Pop Shops in Georgia, and Pop Shop is basically like an elevated brand to the dollar store. It's actually owned by the same company. And so I got this cute little Christmas tree, some like little fake flowers, and so that's what we have here. I'm gonna set these off to the side while I get into unboxing the other stuff. Okay, so my newborn is 4 months, and I think that me partaking on NaNoWriMo was really, really ambitious. You know, especially because NaNoWriMo is in November, which can be a very busy month with like the holidays and traveling and everything else. So I'm gonna actually tell y'all like what my stats were and how the month went, and then we'll kind of get into like the lessons that I learned based on that. So unfortunately, I did not meet my 50,000 word goal for NaNoWriMo, but don't cry for me, because I actually did a lot of writing. So I'm gonna kind of put the stats up on the screen and kind of run through how they were. So in total, during the month of November, I was able to write 34,745 words, which is still a lot of words. Now, what I will say is that some of these words, a small portion of them, were already written before NaNoWriMo began. Because I had already started my short story, and I had already started my longer novel. However, I probably wrote like at least close to 20,000 of these words during NaNoWriMo, so that's number one. And then two, I actually went back and reread all of the stuff that I had already written, and in some places wrote over it. So I lost a lot of words on both of those stories over the time that I was writing. So in my mind, I say like a total, I wrote 34,745 words during that time. And can we please do a hand clap for that? Okay, so basically the first 18 days of the month went pretty well. I pretty much wrote consistently every day for about 18 days exactly. And then from November 19th through November 25th, that was when like everything just went to hell. I was able to write a little bit the last few days of the month, and then basically like landed the month the last 2 days, wrote nothing. And I'll kind of explain why. So, you know, I am married, and I talked to my partner and told them that I was going on this like very ambitious goal. And my partner was very supportive of this, which meant that I needed to basically like use my time efficiently and wisely to have time to write, because again, I have a newborn. I have not gone back to work yet, but even still, like having a newborn is still a lot of work. And it's not like I was just like lollygagging in the park, like had all this like free time. I needed to make sure that my child was very well taken care of, number one. And then two, I think the thing that I, you know, knew was real, but maybe like tried to pretend that wasn't real, was how exhausted I was during this month. So we're at the end of the month and my baby is officially 4.5 months. But you know, 4.5 months is like the tough period of motherhood. During that time, like really anything goes. And so my child went through a sleep regression over that time, which meant probably like after week one was good and it was a breeze. But basically weeks 2, 3, and 4, my child has not been sleeping through the night any of those nights. And while like I got on my red lip and probably look a little together right now, when I tell you I felt like absolute hell this morning, like I felt like absolute hell. You know what? I'm gonna actually insert some clips so y'all can see that I'm not lying about that. And so it just made it very difficult to like have time to write and think when you're tired and you're exhausted. Like it's not easy to be a creative when you're in that mental space, because you're extremely foggy, you're tired, you're not on your A game. And it just kind of made it difficult to like keep pushing on at certain parts in the month, especially like the last few days. Because at the last few days, my baby was basically not sleeping much through the night. I realized that like basically at like 6 a.m. they would go through like a deep sleep and basically stay asleep from like 6 a.m. to like 10 a.m. But at that point I have to get up because I have a toddler and like have to also help them get off to school and all that other stuff. And so, you know, we were probably up and down every 1.5 to 2 hours during those last weeks, which just meant that I was just like extremely fatigued and tired. So that's one. The second thing is that my partner went on a work trip for a whole week during this month as well, which meant that one of the parents was missing. And so while I did have some additional help, my mother-in-law came, as well as my mom and my dad came to help as well. But I also had to be the one to like get our toddler to school every morning and drive them and drop them off, which is something my husband typically does. And it just was a lot. And then the third thing is during the month of November, there's Thanksgiving, which meant we had to travel to in-laws' house for Thanksgiving. So honestly, like, I think that November was a tough month basically to like attempt something like this in. And so considering all of that, for me to be able to be at 34,000 words, I think was honestly like my Christmas miracle. Like that's my gift to myself for this year. I feel like that makes the year a success no matter what. And so to me, as far as like, if I had to critique my writing year, between getting that word number in and then getting accepted into 10 House earlier this year, 10 House winter, and doing it, I feel like I made it. Like I had a very, very good writing year, all considering. Considering being pregnant during 10 House, pushing a baby out at my house, having a newborn at the house, like, I mean, honestly, I don't think it could be better. So I just wanted to like kind of be real about, you know, where I am. And it's funny because in some of the videos, like my last video that I posted about weeks 2 and 3 of NaNoWriMo, you can see how tired I am in that video. And so if you're wondering like, why is this girl like slogging along, like what's going on with her, that's it. Also, let me start unboxing some of this stuff so I'm not just sitting here forever talking to y'all and unboxing nothing. So those are the stats. I'm gonna now, I wrote up a few little things about what I learned during this time. So we're gonna get into that while I unbox. So number one, I think the biggest thing I learned is to write in writing seasons. And this is what I mean by that. As a mom of 2, I don't have the time to consistently always have dedicated time every single day, 365 days to write. It's just unrealistic. And especially because like right now I'm home and off of work. I go back from maternity leave in mid-December, but I'm not always like, I have a full-time job. I'm the head of media campaigns at an agency, like, you know, this was like the amount of time that I had that would be the most low-key and relaxed. Time is only going to get more difficult. And so, you know, I think that for me to be able to like write effectively, I'm going to have to find seasons that I dedicate specifically to writing and nothing else. And so what I mean by seasons are, you know, a time like NaNoWriMo every November that I'm gonna dedicate and say like, here's my goal, here's what I'm working towards, and here's a time that like I can actually communicate with my partner and say like, hey, I'm gonna need your support more on this very specific thing so that I have time to write. And I think that it's not realistic in a partnership to think that like you will always have the same amount of time every single day, every single year to dedicate to writing. And so instead, I think what my plan is to find maybe 2 periods a year that I can dedicate dedicated time to writing, because I also have other things that I care about as well. If you're wondering what these are going to be hooks for the stockings to go on the mantle. They kind of remind you of like those little purse hooks that you get that you can like hang your purse to a table. But these are basically just like cheaper versions of them. So I was able to get more for a smaller amount of money. So I have a few of those that I am unwrapping. I think that like twice a year makes sense. And so like I also have other things that I really care about. Right before I got pregnant with my youngest, I had started taking some like pole classes as well as Lyra hoop classes to really like find my sexy again and really just enjoy like athleticism and see what things my body could do and really just like try to enjoy life a little bit more. And I'm not able to do that and go to those classes and write. And so like, instead of trying to play this tug of war and try to do all things all the time, like if I had dedicated writing time in certain months, then I know the other time that I can spend doing other things that I care about as well. And so I think that it's important for you to actually think about your life in like segments or seasons or like time blocks to be able to get through all the things that you might want to do in a year's frame, especially if you're somebody like me who like always has a new idea, always wants to try and do something new. So this is my tablecloth. I got this really cute green tablecloth to go on this table, my dining room table. So I'm gonna put this to the side. The quality feels pretty decent. It was on Amazon, so it was not a lot of money. And I'm gonna put like a really cute centerpiece on it, which I have here to unbox. And I hope that it's a decent size and it works. So that's what this is. The next thing that I learned is that prepping is important. So, you know, I didn't decide to do NaNoWriMo until like basically, I don't know, like 2.5 weeks before it started. And so I just so happened on YouTube to come across Preptober. I had never heard of Preptober before deciding to do NaNoWriMo, but I was seeing all these videos of people like prepping to do NaNoWriMo. And at first I was like, okay, what is this? But I very quickly realized that like there's this whole culture of people. This has nothing to do with Christmas stuff. This is some coconut oil, y'all. I'm gonna definitely put this to the side. And so I did not know that there was like a whole like, you know, best practice to ensuring that you're successful for NaNoWriMo, which is prepping your stuff. And so, you know, in retrospect, I think that like I should have used the entire month of October to prep versus just the last week basically that I tried to prep. Because what I found is that like a lot of the time that I spent writing was spent doing more prepping because I really didn't have everything prepped that I needed. And so in retrospect, the things that I would prep in the future, again, will be like my character sheets, my timelines, some world building, and as well as research. So I'm not kind of going to get into how I would do those differently. So number one with research, fiction imitates. Can y'all hear me? I hope so. Fiction imitates life. And so, you know, I want to do speculative writing because I believe, and I truly do believe this, that like Black people are never going to be able to achieve the liberation that we need in this current like societal frame. And so what speculative fiction allows is for me to write and create a world that I want to see. But that still means that I have to do some research on things that currently exist today to be able to like make the changes in those things to be able to like write a really effective story. And so, you know, you still have to draw from some important real world examples. So I think some of the things that I will always continue to like dig into are like inspirations from like Afrofuturism and Afro-surrealism. I think that those are two things that I always want to take into my work. The others are like African religious systems, so both like African traditional religions as well as like hoodoo, because I think that like for me, where I am right now with my writing, those are just inspirational things that I always want to include in my writing to just give it this additional piece of like depth and really ensure that like it feels authentic to me. And so I might not always be at that place with my writing, but I do think that like the types of stories that I want to do and I'm doing right now need to include those things. I think like, you know, watching sci-fi movies as well as, oh, look at my little stockings. So I think these are really cute. They're gold. They're not like made really well, and they're also like extremely thin, but I got them on Amazon. They would do. So I'll basically use these hooks and stick these up on the mantle, and they'll hang like that. So that's not bad. Also, I noticed that it was really hard to find gold stockings. Like, I saw a lot of like green and red, like your traditional Christmas colors, but finding gold was really hard. And as y'all know, in my living room, the walls are black. And so like, and my Christmas ornaments that I use on my tree are like gold, bronze, orange. And so I needed to have like gold in my stockings. And anyway, it was just very difficult to find. And so like I also be reading like different books and movies and like just drawing a lot of inspiration from those things as well. And then the last thing that I learned is really just like to not be, and so real quick, before I tell you that, I got 4 of these because we are now a family of 4, which is like ridiculous, and I cannot believe that there are 4 of us. Sometimes when people say that, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of people in this family now. And maybe if you have a big family, you might not think that's a lot of people, but for me and my family, that's a lot of people. Especially because I grew up as an only child, so yeah, 4 is a big family for me. It's giving minivan vibes very soon. And so the last thing that I learned is to not be precious about my where I write. And so, you know, one of the things that has kind of held me back over the years of writing is that I felt like I always needed to be at a laptop to write. Like I needed to be sitting down at a laptop and have like my perfect setup to be able to write. And over time, I've realized and learned that, especially with a small child, that is just not feasible. Because like, let's say I'm in the middle of my writing sprint and my baby decides like, well, I need a diaper change and now I'm hungry. Well, I can't really like type while I'm feeding, while I'm breastfeeding, while I'm nursing my child. And so that means that like if I'm in the middle of a group and I don't want to forget what I was about to write, that means I need to grab my phone and keep writing on like Google Docs or something. And so, you know, I used to be very anti doing that previously, but I had to learn that I have to be willing to write anywhere and in any way. So I recently watched the documentary, The Pieces I Am, Toni Morrison, The Pieces I Am, and it's on Netflix. It should still be there. And Toni Morrison explained that like she would write in pads, she would write in like little pieces of paper, she would write in notepads. And at first I was like, sis, I don't think I could do that. Like I wonder how she was able to like keep everything together writing that way. But now, as also now a mother of 2, I get it. Like I understand if you want to be successful in this industry, you got to be able to write anywhere. Like you just got to be able to go. And so that's definitely, I think, the other thing that I learned during this process. Y'all look at these. So I feel like I got bamboozled by Amazon because I definitely only bought 2 of these because I thought they were going to be way bigger, and that's on me for not measuring or getting a ruler out to measure these before I got them. But I thought that like these were going to be like the size of this box, so I only got 2, and these things are small. So I'm going to have to go back onto that website and buy like, I don't know, at least 2 more of these. Or, you know what? I'm gonna keep these 2 small ones and then maybe I'll get something else to put in the middle because this is not a centerpiece. Like, these are little accents. These are not a centerpiece. So that was kind of a dud. I feel like, I don't know, like my little like things that I bought were okay. They were decent, but they were not everything that I needed. So I think I'm gonna actually end up going back to Pop Shop and trying to get some more stuff because yeah, this don't work. But y'all, I just wanted to like kind of give y'all a little wrap up of how NaNoWriMo went. If you are considering doing NaNoWriMo, please let me know. I'm probably gonna definitely do it again next year, and I would love to be in community with you and do NaNoWriMo with you. So if you think that you will probably do it, come back, talk to me next year, and like let's do it together. Number two, I think I'm definitely going to decide for 2023 and put some goals together of like what I plan to do for writing. And so I'm definitely gonna make a video on that so y'all can keep up to date about like how I'm planning to continue to write for next year. And lastly, I just want to say that it was hard. Like this was not easy to do. And I think sometimes like people, especially creators, like don't like to say that, like, oh, this was difficult, or I didn't find this to be like enjoyable, because like this is your craft. And so while this is my craft and I want to continue to do this and be a published author with a traditional Big Four publisher, it was extremely difficult. Like it is hard to do this in this season of my life, and the pushing through of it took a lot of sacrifice. And so I would say like the two biggest things are like the discipline needed to commit to this and do it consistently, regardless of the other things that I had going on in my life. And then second, being willing to take those sacrifices, meaning you can't do other things, or that like you have to like put something else to the wayside for a period of time to be able to do it. And so that doesn't feel good, right? Like that doesn't go with the like soft life of social media. It doesn't go with the like, the lack of like hustle culture. And like I definitely think that you shouldn't hustle, but you have to be intentional about anything that you want to do and really give yourself like a fair shot and a fair shake at it, right? Like you can't half-ass something that you really, really want. And I would just tell anybody, like whether you're a writer or a painter or a sculptor, or like you want to play basketball, whatever the case may be of the thing that like is driving you want to be a baker, whatever it is, like you have to be willing to make the sacrifices necessary to do that work. Sometimes those sacrifices are monetary, sometimes those sacrifices are with your time, and then sometimes those sacrifices are like taking yourself away from other things that you also want to do or that are also important to you. And so I think that to do that well, you have to really think about what your non-negotiables are, and also be very realistic about your time. So something that I have struggled with as a as a forever optimist is that I think that I have more time than I actually do. And so I've had to come to the conclusion over the years to be very realistic about how much time I actually have, and not try to do too much, right? Like, and so 50,000 words under the climate of what I had going on was actually probably too ambitious of a goal, but I did in some ways need an ambitious goal to be able to like hit somewhere in the middle. So you know how they say like shoot for the stars and land on the clouds? Like that's 100% what I feel like I did. I shot for the stars, which are 50,000 words, and I landed on the clouds. And I just feel really good about that. And so I just would tell any of you to like if this is something that you really want, you can't just like fly by the seat of your pants. And think that like you're gonna stumble your way upon success. Like it's not possible. You're not gonna be able to do it. Take that from me. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, as well as subscribe to my channel. I will continue to make videos like this, as well as like videos in the mom/book sides of YouTube as well. Please comment below if you follow through this journey and you've done this, or that you like, if you feel me, like if you are creative and you understand or like have a thought about like the sacrifice or discipline needed to like get your craft done, like leave some inspiration for other people in the comments below. I definitely want to hear from y'all. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching my channel. Peace, y'all.